No Jumper, coolest podcast in the world. And today we find ourselves outside of our usual area. Today we are at Mike Dean's studio here in, well, I'm not going to say where, and we're with his first artist signed to his MWA imprint, Dice Soho. Dice, how you doing?
What's up, man? How you doing?
And Mike,
good.
Thank you so much for letting us come through here. Wow, left really, really weird here, handshake there. I'm hyped. I'm really excited that you were able to cut aside some time. What projects have you been working on lately that are taking up most of your time?
Been working on a couple of projects I can't talk about. Working on Dice's project. What have we been working on? Mostly stuff I can't talk about.
You got NDAs with these bigger artists you work on?
No, just
bad taste, yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Because
talk about stuff before it comes out, or it's kind of bad luck.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing about what you've been up to lately with the whole new label and everything, is that people have kind of got used to seeing you mostly deal with much like giant artists, like the biggest artists in the game, and now you're kind of like taking a different path. You're kind of like, no, I'm gonna go out and reach out to the young kids who are popping off.
Yeah, trying to like fucking with Uno the Activist right now.
Shout out Uno.
Got a couple of songs with him. Trying to sign him.
Yeah. It's trying to sign him.
Yeah, working on that, yeah.
It's tricky to sign young guys these days, or?
Yeah. I mean, not really though.
No. So
I'm just gonna pop a Dice for, first, see how it goes.
How'd you get put on to him?
Playing Pat, actually.
Oh, really?
Just playing with Trill Sammy and Dice's stuff.
And do you have that kind of relationship with, he'll play you like any type of artist that he's into, like lots of different artists all the time, or?
Yeah. He knows what's gonna pop, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you've got this gigantic legacy in Houston and stuff. Like, what do you see in Dice that sort of reminds you of like the dudes you came in the game with? Because obviously working with guys like Pimp C, it's like that epitomizes Texas during a certain era, and it's very interesting to me to see you dipping your toe in and being like, nah, like we're gonna find the new generation now.
Yeah, I don't know. Dice just has that Houston swag to him, that I like a lot. Just his slang, his whole way he presents his music, the beats he picks. It's kind of, a lot of the beats he picks are kind of like old Houston style stuff.
Right. And do you tend to go, because like when I think about Dice's music, he's a hit maker. Like he seems like the kind of guy that, and a lot of the young guys you see that they sort of have that like built into them, where they want to make these songs that are going to make people go crazy. And I think a lot of it is the fact that they're so in tune with the live experience from day one.
Yeah. Wait, I'm not even listening. Go back.
I don't even know what was the question.
What was the question?
We're a little high out here.
Yeah.
Dice, how would you describe your music?
You're distracting me. Come on.
I just like having fun with it. Well, like me personally, when I get in the studio, I try to focus on making a hit. So like I like taking my time with stuff, and I just like to talk about like what's going on at this point, like what I'm doing. Just like me just having fun with my friends and stuff.
It's like real life shit.
Getting high as fuck, going out partying.
That's one thing you guys have in common with, the love of weed?
Yeah, a little bit.
Seems like every artist you work with too. I know Travis is a prolific weed smoker.
Yeah. If they're not, I turn them into one.
But that didn't work with Kanye? It doesn't seem like he smokes much.
Yeah.
That's another NDA?
Yeah.
Every time you smoke a blunt with Kanye, you go sign an NDA?
No.
That's how I imagine it working. So how did you get introduced to Mike? And did you know about his career previously?
Yeah. Now I've been I used to watch like a lot of like old stuff from him with like my homies back in Houston, and actually got plugged in with him through Gustavo.
Shout out Gustavo, we haven't introduced yet, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He linked us up in New York. I was out there for this tour with Riff Raff. So after the show, after the show, before the show? After the show, we had went by his crib. We smoked a couple blunts. He wrapped some wax around the blunts and shit. We got stupid high.
I made the tarantula then.
Yeah. Then we just
you like to challenge yourself.
He made a beat too. He made a beat after that, and we just cooked up that same night.
Yeah.
That's dope.
That's a song with Slim Jimmy on it.
Jimmy, yeah. Is that out yet?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's just on SoundCloud. We haven't done anything with it yet.
That's dope. Yeah, Rip Jeans is the latest single.
Yeah,
You guys did that one together too?
No,
Oh, okay.
I did that with Dez.
Okay.
that's right.
That's dope.
But yeah, now we linked, and it's been popping ever since.
Yeah, it's interesting because like what's your relationship with Trill Samuel like these days? 'Cause I feel like you came in the game with him and now you're sort of on 2.0. This is like
Yeah.
you sort of started over in a way and you were like, you know what?
That's my brother. We linked. About almost 2 years, or I think it's going on 2 years. Then that song we did, Just Watch, it popped off. And
Yeah.
we started making more songs together. Then that's when we did that tour. Riff Raff, he had reached out to us and he wanted to. He wanted us to come on tour. Come on tour with him. Then we did that shit. We made a couple of more records. And then after that, we just started working on our solo, like individual stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, because it can be kind of hard to like balance that. You never thought of yourselves as a group? You never thought like we're gonna take in that direction?
We talked about it, but I mean, it just wasn't like right all the way, 100%.
Well, it's hard to pull that off.
Yeah.
You gotta be around somebody, base your whole career off being with them all the time.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm curious, like, what is the thing that, do you feel like you get something very different out of doing, like, essentially, like, artist development, like, helping guys out in the early stages of their career as opposed to, like, because you've been doing a very different thing when you go on tour with Kanye or when you're doing all this stuff with these massive artists, it must just be the total polar opposite of that in a way, as opposed to, like, working on somebody who doesn't have all these expectations that they're going to be a certain way.
It's like working with the youngest youth music that there is, you know, trying to find a couple of guys that I like and pull them out, you know, try to help form their careers, make them a little better.
Right.
Decided I'd start trying to sign them this year
Yeah.
instead of just doing it.
Because you always had that option, but you never really wanted to get involved in the business end as
I
much.
want to deal with the business, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people in your position, you know, because people in hip hop, like by the time they hit like 21, a lot of times they're like, I remember the good old days back when I was like 16.
Yeah.
And it's so hard for them to wrap their head around like staying interested in what's current in hip hop, which is like, I'm 33 and people act shocked all the time. Like, how can you like this stuff? You know, you grew up listening to.
Look how old I am. And
Yeah.
I love like the shittiest gutter trap music. You know?
Yeah, but that's why I'm so interested in is like, to a lot of people, it's like, if you grew up listening to Jay-Z and Nas, how the hell can you love all this new stuff? I get inspiration when I look at you because you seem like you have a very genuine passion for the sound of the times, regardless
Just
of...
like people that hated disco and then people that, I mean, they love disco, and people that hated disco, then the next generation hated disco and loved whatever was next, the 80s shit.
Right.
And then
You've seen the
English people-
pattern enough
yeah.
times.
Yeah,
It
it's
just
like-
seems redundant at this point, right?
Yeah, it just keeps flipping to for 3 years it's the 80s and it's the 90s and then it's the 60s and, you know, it's a cycle. He's got to see what's next.
And people are short-sighted in that they forget that the way that the South and a lot of the artists that you came in the game with were considered to be like anti-hip-hop artists at that time, or like that's not rap music. This stuff that like UGK or Ghetto Boys were
we
doing.
did rap music, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I still do.
Yeah. And but there's always going to be
He's
that.
making a rap album.
Yeah. So it's a rap album. Just to clarify, or just make
Just
sure.
fucking with people, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody now wants to be a rock star and stuff. That's the big new terminology. Is I'm not a rapper, I'm a rock star. I don't know what they are trying to get across necessarily, but
Yeah. I mean,
I think it's working for some artists.
yeah.
the generation just wants to rage, really.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Have fun,
Yeah.
go crazy.
Exactly.
Have you guys been on tour yet, or is it most of your hanging out is around here?
This studio, restaurants, bars.
Bars. Do you guys ever get lit around here, or do you guys party like during the recording type stuff, or are you past that in your life?
I think
Yeah.
I think after that tour I went on, with Riff Raff. I think after that I just
Partied up.
Yeah, I think we partied too much.
Really, that showed you a whole new level of what you could be doing.
Facts.
That's very interesting.
Wow. Yeah, I just smoke a gang of weed and work.
Yeah, you kind of remind me of Riff Raff a little bit too. You got some of the same energy.
Yeah, we were. We're from the same Houston.
That's true. Yeah. Oh, I forgot about the Texas connection with him too. Well, I mean, I remember when he first came out that I had a lot of people saying like, "Oh man, like he's taken a lot, or he's got flows that like very specifically come from some of the classic Houston artists and stuff."
Yeah, he does for sure. He does the old Mike Jones, the old Paul Wall shit.
Yeah. I mean,
I like that when he does.
he's
it.
gone to a different place as a musician where he's in a totally different category, but I mean it's dope as fuck actually to see him fucking with you guys and stuff, because I think at a certain point he realized that he needed to do more stuff with like the underground and the young dope kids, because like 2011 that was him. He was the weirdest. He was like the white boy version of Lil B. Like he was fucking making a million songs, so weird. Some of them were so bad, some of them were good. You know, it was like a different era. I don't know why we're talking about Riff Raff now, but yeah. So
Shout out Jody High Roller.
very, very big shout out to Jody.
Yeah.
So one thing with you is like you're crazy with the level of musicianship and just production that goes into your stuff, but you probably work with a lot of dudes who are like kids now are so used to just recording on their laptop or like in a hotel room.
That's why I'm back to making beats on the laptop. You know.
Oh, you are?
I got all this shit. Yeah. I use Fruity Loops. Like make the same. If you want to compete with the 18-year-olds making beats, you gotta use the same tools.
Really? So you feel like in a way you're able to get the sound that is more authentic to the times like that?
Yeah.
Because I'm like surrounded by all these crazy keyboards and
Oh, yeah, I
stuff.
do that afterwards. Yeah. But to make the raw beat is usually just a Fruity Loops.
Really? Okay. That's dope. Yeah, because we associate you. I mean, we're listening to the Travis album on the way here and just thinking. I mean, there's a crazy level of like detail that's put into that. But do you think that once artists get to a certain point in their career they start to feel like they need to be that elaborate with the music, or?
Yeah, I mean, Travis has always been pretty elaborate, though, I think. With all his reverbs and echoes. And
Yeah.
it's really him that does most of that, you know?
He does the effects on his own vocals?
Yeah.
So you have any kind of input on that sort of thing, or is that the kind
Yeah,
of...
we all do, but yeah. He'll just sit down and just
Yeah.
and start doing it.
That's one thing I've learned recently from like having to record people is like, wow, all these dudes have a different formula that they're like married to in terms of their vocal effects and shit.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm still trying to find on Dice. We're getting it locked in right now.
Really. So what's like in your view of like how his career should move forward, like do you look at it as like you're building towards like, do you believe in the mixtape of like doing a really big project like for a young artist? Is like the mixtape that important, or do you look at like just dropping songs on SoundCloud or YouTube as being enough?
Well, we're doing a mixtape.
Mm-hmm.
I think mixtape's important to have a body of work,
Right.
which can end up being a bunch of songs released on SoundCloud too.
Right.
You know, just package them in one place.
Yeah. It's easier for the casual viewer.
You're making me think.
Yeah. About the strategy? Is that not your
Yeah.
lane? You hire somebody to do the promotion on that kind of thing?
Yeah, I just ask people like you questions.
See, there you go. I could be that guy for you. So, Dice, in your mind, outside of what the old head wants you to do, which we now know he's not really too concerned with, what do you think of when you think about like the next move of your career in terms of like projects? Or are you a mixtape oriented guy?
Yeah, I mean, I actually like putting out a body of work, and then put out like solo songs here and here.
Mm-hmm.
But I just felt like just putting out good music is the key.
Yeah. But are you the kind of guy like...
Like the next album, I think we'll probably go in and
Yeah, we're gonna go crazy on the
Yeah.
next project for sure.
Is that the plan? Do you have to like, when you think of an album, do you have to really like structure it out? Like we're gonna have this block of time and this is where we're gonna really put this together and give this
Yeah.
thing an identity?
you just make songs.
You just keep making songs.
Just make songs,
Yeah.
pull which ones into the proper project,
Right.
you know?
That's dope. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm definitely excited about that. So going back in time, a lot of the crazy shit is that, well, we got to figure out. So when you went to rap a lot, it was were the Ghetto Boys were already there.
Yeah.
Okay. And so how did you?
They had a hit song,
What was the hit song at the time?
Mind Playing Tricks song.
Oh, okay. So in what year was that?
91.
Right. It was good that was the song.
In
at that time.
92, I was producing a group called the Def Squad from
Yeah.
Houston, this local rap group. And they just heard about me and hired me to be an engineer for a few years. I just climbed up the ladder there.
Yeah. And so what was the environment like at that time though, like in terms of the kind of rappers you were dealing with and stuff?
It's fun.
Was it total wild, wild west in comparison
Yeah.
to these days?
Oh yeah, today is nothing.
Really?
You know, back then it was like everybody had guns in the studio.
Ah, they still do that. Maybe not here. I'd probably
No, it was at a different level though.
yeah.
It was a different level of craziness.
A lot of times I hear that about studios, that people would be like, man, that studio is almost not really a studio. It's almost a trap house. It's hard to find a line. Not here.
Our studio was like we had a studio on Bissonnet in West Park.
Yeah, I remember you said that.
That shit was crazy.
Really? What's the craziest thing you ever saw happen there?
There's all kinds of shit. I don't know. I don't say anything specific.
You wanted to say the name of the shooter who drove the car.
You know, all kinds of crazy.
But that kind of stuff, you were seeing like crazy violence and all kinds of, like, were you exposed to that sort of shit before you got mixed up in that world? Of actually being the engineer and everything? Or were you a little bit sheltered to how wild that
I
shit
wasn't
was
an
gonna be?
engineer at all. I was a producer,
Okay.
keyboard player. They hired me to be an engineer. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So I got out the books and learned how to do it. But yeah, it turned just really thugged out like crazy.
So you got
I mean, imagine like Big Mike 3-2 and Scarface
yeah.
in a room making a song together, and each one of them has their 8 people with them. And it's like 2 football teams in your house. You know?
Yeah.
It's like
Do you avoid that now? If you have a guy coming over that's got a squad
I
with
go to
him?
the studio. Yeah,
Yeah. It's like you can't
This
have
is
the whole
more for,
football
like,
team.
personal stuff. You know?
Yeah. This is art. This is not. We're not holding a freaking street meeting here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm interested in like. Well, how long were you at Revlot?
Oh God, like 15 years.
15 years.
Yeah.
And so during that time, did you ever see yourself leaving? Were you like, this is my career? Like, I'm happy just working with all these artists and everything?
No, everything was great. It was good. Just till people stopped buying records, everything kind of went to shit.
Oh, that's when it kind of started to
Yeah.
slow down.
Yeah, in the early 2000s.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. You kind of just,
Yeah. In terms of the money?
yeah, just everything. You know, like the groups, everything just changed. Yeah.
Mm.
We should just cut that out.
No, it's good. Like, no, I mean, I was watching I just interviewed Master P, and he was talking about it, and it's just so clear when you see some old heads that are like, they got into the music business in many ways because they like the business angle of it, and then the whole business changed, and the whole money
Yeah.
went from
That's when things started changing, when Master P
right.
and Cash Money came in.
Mhm.
They started making these quick records,
Right.
putting out a record every week.
Yeah.
You know, where they would just grab 12 beats and rap on them and go, "Pfft, here's an album.
Yeah.
Where we would go in the studio for 9 months to work on 10 songs.
Hmm.
You know, it changed the whole industry. Like,
So what was your attitude being sort of, would you consider Rap A Lot at that time like a competing
you see,
clique?
I still work with a person that works for 2 years on an album, so
Uh-huh. Yeah,
that
true.
answers that.
But that's like expected of dudes who get to that level now, whereas it's like when you look at the younger or
I mean,
lower.
Yellow Boys albums, we used to spend years, you know,
Right.
year and a half, 2 years to work on an album.
But somebody like Travis or Kanye, you know, it's expected at this point. Like, they could not put out an album that they made casually. They have to put that level of attention into it. It's like
Yeah.
there's a standard for the very upper echelon. But at that time with Master P, it's like he was more than happy to put out a new album every week from some guy you never heard of, plus some guy that you already
Yeah.
loved. And
Somebody's cousin and sister.
Yeah.
brother. Yeah.
But from your perspective, though, did you, at that time, were you kind of like, damn, these guys are fucking up the game, or these guys are changing this shit in a way that you weren't necessarily stoked on?
Yeah, in a way, it was just turning everything. That was the beginning of this disposable music,
Mm-hmm.
which we have now, where you know people put out a song, a week later they forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. When I was talking to him, I sort of felt like saying that, like, you sort of like saw you saw what was going to happen to the internet and how the internet was going to make music, but you just didn't really have the internet yet, but you did it a few years beforehand.
Yeah, they just started blasting shit out.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And it worked, and they fucking rode that thing as hard as they could until the internet started to take over.
Yeah, I think Rap A Lot, we had a top 10 record every 3 weeks.
Right.
Or 4 weeks, we put out a top 10 record, like in the hot, whatever, 200, whatever.
Uh-huh.
And then Master P came out, they started doing it every week. It was
Right.
like- we were like, fuck.
That's
What are they
crazy.
doing up there?
Do you feel any, do you dislike the current taste for sort of like disposable music, where a lot of people put music out so quickly? And there's a lot of artists who that's the basis of their whole fandom,
Right.
is that they have, you know, they put stuff out constantly, so the artists always, or the fans always have something to listen to.
No comment, really.
Is that like, do you have to look at it like, okay, that's for them, like you understand why the kids
Yeah.
have ended up that way, but then you're still sort of, you're
Still want to make good songs. you know.
right. They have some
Songs that
level
go
of,
somewhere and mean something to something.
yeah, some thought that goes into it over time, yeah.
Thought, T-H-O-T.
Oh, well, that too. Well, there's always some thoughts.
Some thought.
What about the thoughts? Are there a lot of thoughts coming through here while we're on the topic?
Nah, it's pretty unthoughty around here.
You're married or something?
Yeah, I got a girlfriend.
Oh, okay. I think I just met her downstairs, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just checking. But what if Dice rolls up one day in a friggin' Lambo with
I
three
think I
girls
was
in the
doing
back?
like 8 thoughts a day.
Really?
Not really.
8?
Nah,
I was gonna say,
I'm
you're
just-
if you fuck 8
Yeah.
girls a day, you're a sex addict.
I'm just fucking around. Yeah.
That's a lot. Dice. I'm worried about you all of a sudden.
It's nice song.
It is. But man, yeah, I don't know. 8 in a day, that's like, you have some sort of superhuman urge right there. That's a lot of planning and time in
They
between.
have to. They can all be together.
Oh, well, okay, that's that. Yeah, that's a party right there. That's a good idea. Yeah, I guess you're right. You can have 8 girls over. You don't have to have sex with all of them one by one, right? I'm kind of thinking. I'm imagining
You're
it like
talking
a
to
simp.
Dice.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah.
We're far past that. So okay. When you get with Rap A Lot, or when you sort of get into the scene, would you describe yourself as being? Because you know, over time you became. I know you were drinking a lot of lean for a period of time, stuff like that. You became like a pothead and stuff. Were you sort of green to all that stuff when you first got into that game, or were you already with the shits?
When I came to Rap A Lot, I'd actually quit smoking pot for like a year because my stepson was stealing my pot and selling it at school.
Really?
Yeah, and then one time I came home and found his weed and took it all and smoked it and watched Apocalypse Now.
And you were like, I'm back.
Yeah, and that's when we were working on the Odd Squad album with Devin the Dude, like the first album.
Right.
It was perfect, you know, making all those weed songs.
Do you think that like is something that has endeared a lot of rappers to you over time? Is the fact that you are like the dude who probably smokes the most weed out of everybody, and probably more than the rappers a lot of times?
Yeah.
They like that, right? They appreciate that. They're like, oh
Yeah, it's always like, here's some weed, you know. Like,
yeah,
I don't give him like an eighth, I give him like a handful. You know?
yeah. That's good. Yeah, you can go around tossing out eighths and start to think that you're a little cheap. This
Yeah.
guy handed me an eighth.
Yeah, it's like, come on.
Well, now everybody puts an eighth in a blunt too, so it's like
Yeah.
the eighth is like the penny, where it's like, why do we have pennies? Everybody knows they're useless.
Now it's like put like 20 on it.
Yeah.
I got 5, I got like,
Yeah, everybody else
I
to
got fucking 50 on it.
come together.
Blunts I roll, when I put wax in it, it's like a $65 blunt.
Yeah,
Like,
that's crazy, right? When you think about it, like, there's a lot to going into every
that's
individual
good,
blunt
yeah.
sometimes.
Smoke one every 20 minutes.
And I mean, that's what you've been working towards all these years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is to be able to live that casual lifestyle.
Yeah.
How you get a pound? How long is it gonna last?
A week.
Yeah, it depends on what's going on, really.
Yeah.
If I'm working with a house full of people, it lasts like a week.
Yeah. Solid.
2 ounces a day,
Yeah.
maybe 8 days.
It adds up quick. And I mean, you're on the level where it's like, you know, do you have a specific blunt roller? You got a guy who just kind of,
No, I roll. I don't like anybody to roll.
you prefer to do it yourself?
Yeah.
You mow your own lawn?
No.
Okay. So, you know, that's the question is like, do you want to do your own dirty work, I guess?
No, the blunt rolling is real specific.
Yeah. Oh, you have a very specific style?
Yeah, I like to peel certain papers off of it. And
Oh, okay. Well, I just seen you rolling
I
a
still
Swiss.
smoke Swishers, yeah.
Yeah, but never woods or just,
Yeah, it's,
you really are opposed to them?
yeah.
Well, you've been on Swishers for how many years now, too?
Yeah. Backwoods just tastes like what you'd imagine acid tastes like.
Ass?
No,
I can tell you what ass tastes like.
no.
But yeah, like, were you smoking Swishers in the '90s, working at Rap A Lot and stuff?
Yeah, we were smoking Swishers in '92.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know. Yeah, because for a while living in New York, I
And
didn't
whatever
even.
those other things are, what are they called?
Oh, Fronto now.
The blunts.
Oh, the Dutch Masters. Phillies, yeah.
Yeah, Bushwick Bill, he was the first one rolling up like that.
Hmm.
The Swishers is more like a Houston thing, though. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, it's all okay.
more of a
Yeah, that's
Houston
true.
thing.
That's,
Yeah, Swisher House, I mean.
yeah. Dutches were big in New York. I didn't know there was a blunt besides a Dutch for a long time.
Oh, yeah, Dutchess.
Took me a while to realize there was all these other
I
things.
don't like cigar tasting cigars. Like,
Right. What's the trick smoking weed so substantially until late in your career? Because sometimes I feel like it's already kind of taking its toll on me. The lungs start to just feel a little.
I don't know. It's true.
Have you ever thought about quitting?
No.
Never even thought
Yeah,
about
I've
it?
thought about it.
Yeah. But have you ever
For
gone?
like 5 seconds.
You take a week off ever? A couple days off?
No.
Never?
Never.
Wow, that's cool.
When I go to Dubai or something, I won't smoke for 2 days, you know.
Does it drive you crazy?
It's
Or?
like 5, yeah.
Yeah.
I was taking her to work on the album before, and it was like, after 3 days, I was like, get me the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
It's just like gold-plated hell. There's no weed.
Have you ever flown with weed, like, you know, internationally in a way that you were, maybe you did it because you
No comment.
made a bad decision in the short
Yeah.
term because you just knew that you would need it?
No, I got connections everywhere.
That's true. But Dubai's got to be tough either way, right?
You don't want to fuck around there.
Yeah. No, I mean, I flew to Japan with 8 grams of wax just because I was a fucking idiot and I just didn't think about it.
You
And
can do that.
yeah, if is the wax not as scary to fly with?
Yeah, but if you get caught, it's like a controlled substance.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't get caught,
It's
so I
not
have to
weed,
find
so-
out. As soon as I got there, the tour guide told me, he's like, you know, they executed a guy a couple weeks ago for smoking a joint.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, fuck, well, it's a lot more than a joint right here.
I don't fuck around in Japan. I don't go there.
Yeah,
I don't go places where weed isn't legal.
that's good. I mean, that's
they don't
like,
have enough money for me.
right. You don't want to go somewhere where they fucking, are, you know,
go get my
beating
arm
people
cut
up on the
off or
street. Yeah,
something.
exactly. It's
Yeah.
almost as bad. Like,
Fucking like, you know.
get your arm cut
I
off.
was just in the Philippines smoking, you know, with a bunch of weed a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like now they're killing weed dealers out there in the street.
Yes, it's like legal to kill drug dealers there now.
Yeah.
My worst was though. Have you ever encountered the brickweed?
Yeah.
I went to Argentina and smoked some shit that was basically like black.
That's what I smoked all over. When you go to shitty places, you gotta smoke shitty weed unless you're crazy
Yeah.
and carry it.
The weed was such dog shit in Argentina though that me and all my friends basically just decided not to smoke weed after like 3 days. And we brought mad woods so that we were like, you know, if we put it inside the wood, maybe we won't be able to tell. It was so bad. We all didn't smoke.
Do you
for
ever
like
smoke
a
brick
week.
weed in Houston? No, you always smoke good weed.
Even the worst weed I saw in
They
like
didn't
the
have
90s.
good weed when I was young.
Yeah, what was it like when you were
It
smoking?
was brick weed, but it was big buds. You know, it was like
See, this was barely even buds. It's just.
it was like $150 a quarter pound. You know,
Yeah.
it was like
Oh, so it was that cheap? That kind of
yeah.
makes up for it in a way. When was the last time you smoked mid?
Yeah.
You had to?
I've never smoked shitty weed or mint.
Yeah. Have you had to smoke shitty weed like
Yeah, I
anytime
smoked-
recent
I was
memory?
in Mexico like a year and a half ago working, and
Oh yeah.
we smoked like a fucking half pound of dirt weed.
Yeah. It's kind of nice.
Smoking blunts, it gets you a different high. It's like,
Yeah.
Make your head hurt.
makes you kind of numb, weird feeling.
Yeah. It reminds me of high school. It like brings back that
The
high.
smell.
Yeah. Different cannabinoids, or what are they called? Cannabinoids. Like,
Cannabinoids.
haven't encountered them since I was a kid, and all of a sudden your body's like lighting up in a different way. It's weird. For the record, how do you know Gustavo over here too? He just hooked up the Young Chop interview as well.
Where'd I meet you at?
Through Sci,
Yeah, through Sapphire.
through Sci-Fire.
Producer from Houston.
Yeah, told Chop was working on this is the funny part. Chop was working on the Yeezus album at Germano Studio,
Mm-hmm.
and I told Sci, yo, you should come out to New York to work on this Kanye album. And then out of nowhere, he calls me. He's like, yo, come meet me downtown near the Prada store. And introduced me to Mike. And then he said, yo, you guys should work with each other on some marketing. And then that's it.
What were you buying at the Prada store?
Product store?
Remember, Kanye did the projection on the wall.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. That was crazy.
that was a crazy night. You know what I mean? So that's how we
New
first
Slaves
met.
projections.
Right.
For New
East Nay
Slaves.
on the Anye K.
Well, you're not allowed to talk about Kanye?
I just don't like it on the interviews.
Just because it's like, because it's so
Everybody
weird.
wants to hear shit about Kanye.
Yeah, well, I'm not prying for like secret information
you
or whatever.
can, yeah.
I already tried to figure out what it's like smoking a blunt with Kanye. It didn't work. I assume there's got to be something on there. I don't know. But so all right, you also worked with Tupac to me, which is like fascinating to me that
Just right up the street. That's why I moved in this neighborhood. I like this area.
that you first encountered this area around there.
Yeah. We were out here recording. We ran into Tupac like at the Mondrian Hotel. I was like, he came by in his Rolls Royce with the top down, music playing real loud.
Solo?
Yeah. That's how we met him. And went straight to the studio, started making songs and shit.
Mm.
Then they took off and made some more songs. And then after he died is when I ended up remixing the Smile song,
Right.
you know, from something they did.
So how much did you actually work with him around that time?
It was just like a few days.
Uh-huh.
You know.
What was
Then after he died, I got to be real good friends with the Outlaws.
right?
Worked with them a lot, like heavily actually.
Yeah.
All different divisions of the Outlaws. Big Psych, Fatal,
Yeah.
and the regular three guys.
Yeah. And so, but what was Tupac's like energy like? He's such like a, polarizing person now. Everybody
Yeah,
regards
he's
him like a god.
Yeah, that's how he was.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
had that charisma, that energy about him.
Yeah, he knew he was going to, he talked about knowing, about the Seventh Day shit and all that. And he was reading this book.
So is this is close to when he died?
Yeah, because you remember Seagram, the Bay Area rapper?
I remember that name. Yeah.
He died. He got killed like 3 weeks before Pac, and that was when Pac. After that, I was like, you should get on his album, before you take off. And then he got killed before he could get on Seagram's album.
Really?
Yeah, I had a bunch of people die around that time.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So when Selena died, Seagram, Pac, like a bunch of other just street people.
The Selena thing, I guess we got to explain that because it's so shocking that you spent time working with her and that she was actually like your path into the game, right?
Yeah, that was my first like real gig, like besides playing in bars and shit.
Mm-hmm.
First tour.
Playing keyboards and stuff like.
Yeah, playing keyboards, and so when she was like 9 years old.
9?
Yeah, until she was like 13 or 14.
Was she a star by the time she was 13 or 14?
Yeah, she was killing it.
She was huge.
Yeah.
And she never sung in English either, you said.
She did.
At that time.
We did some English songs, but they wouldn't record in English.
Right.
So Dad wanted to keep it real to La Rasa and all that.
Uh-huh.
And I wasn't with it, so I split. We had a pretty weird splitting.
Yeah. What, anything in particular that was awkward about the way it ended? I get the feeling that you and her dad might not have got along so well.
Yeah, it ended in a big thing, yeah.
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 But it's big enough that it's weird to talk about it 30
Yeah, I
years
don't want
later.
to talk about it too much. Yeah, just out of respect for her.
Yeah, totally. But at that time, were you more of like a fly on the wall, just sort of soaking in everything industry-wise, like learning how all this shit was going to work?
Yeah, that's the first time I saw record companies and A&Rs and all that shit.
Right.
It was interesting. And after I quit playing with them, I went and played for Maz, who was like 10 times bigger than Selena at the time.
Right.
So I stepped up in the Mexican market.
Uh-huh.
And then after that, I quit. I was like, fuck this shit.
You got any Mexican in you?
No.
No. Okay. I actually Googled today, is Mike Dean Mexican? Because I was like, the Mexican Wrestling
Well, I don't
Association.
know what I am, actually.
It seems like he probably
Okay.
wouldn't name it that unless he had a little Mexican in him.
I just played in so many Mexican bands and shit.
Yeah. Just feel like a deep connection to the culture.
Yeah. To all cultures, really.
Yeah,
It's kind of weird.
yeah.
I never really worked with too many white folks.
Right.
White people.
Well, like white people doing good hip hop music is still relatively new.
Well, yeah. It's just always worked out like that. Like,
Right.
through my teenage years, I'd always end up in a funk band,
Mm.
driving to Third Ward, Houston to fucking record and shit when I was like 16 and shit,
Right.
from out in the country where I was from.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting.
I mean, do you think like Vanilla Ice kind of fucked it up for every other white rapper for a while? He made it look kind of corny to the point where like everybody else sort of felt like they didn't like it wasn't. I would think until Eminem that
It took from him to Eminem for a new.
right. It was like a total drought, which maybe is not a bad thing, but there was no white rapper out I think taken seriously during that period.
Yeah.
And then we had Eminem, and he helped a lot, but he was still so weird that was kind of. I think really Paul Wall kind of after that.
Paul Wall was dope.
Because Paul Wall is dope as fuck, and Paul Wall is kind of like, he's a regular guy in a way.
Yeah.
He's not like Eminem where he's playing this crazy character. Paul Wall was rapping a lot like his black
He's right about
contemporaries.
what he does.
Yeah.
That's what, kind of like what Dice does.
Yeah.
Shout out Paul Wall.
Shout out Paul Wall.
Yep.
I mean, anybody who's spent much time in Texas knows that Paul Wall is like the fucking big boss around there.
Oh, yeah.
Although he just
Give me
recently,
a cigarette.
he got caught up for some weed charges recently, actually.
Is that like a half a cigarette you giving me?
There you go. Oh, you're on the cigarettes too? Okay. That's nothing wrong with that.
Is that fan on? Yeah.
Do you know what is funny?
It's on.
I love your rivalry with these fucking soccer fans who think that you're
Mike Dean and Soccer reference, yeah, that's straight.
What's it like dealing with that fucking? Because you've had an
I just got a
onslaught.
lot of tweets just about 30 minutes ago about that.
30 minutes ago, really?
Yeah,
Oh my god! And so
it's like,
you having that, it's serious enough that your profile needs it. It needs to have that as a disclaimer in there, right? Oh, like the comments from the soccer fans, are they serious enough that you actually have to have that disclaimer in your profile?
yeah, I just thought that was funny to put it. Let's see, I just got some. Let's see.
It's funny too because you're verified, so they probably just don't even think about it. They just go for it.
Yeah, just people talking about the soccer shit. It's hilarious.
And telling you you're terrible.
Yeah, you're a shitty ref. You're the worst ref in the world. I'm just like, Manchester United. No, I love soccer.
Oh, okay.
Football.
Hmm.
My girlfriend's English, I mean.
Oh, so there you go. Yeah, see, but I grew up thinking soccer was a total pussy-ass sport.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
not though.
No, and especially not in outside America.
It's a lot smarter than American football too. At least
Yeah.
they're not going brain dead and shit.
Well, that's a very good point. The head injury thing is a huge
And they run
factor.
a lot more than fucking football players in America.
Yeah.
They're in a lot better shape.
Amazing
they're not fat
athleticism.
and shit.
Yeah. But also they just,
I better shut up.
I mean, you go to like Barcelona or any part of England, I mean, they're so unbelievably passionate about soccer that you kind of
Oh.
can't have a so to them, they can't imagine that to me in 1991 in first grade, soccer was some weird ass sport that my little sister did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like girls did it.
And we played basketball, football or something.
I'm
you
20
know?
years older than you. Well, I'm not 20, 15.
So I'm assuming that your image of soccer at that period in Houston
yeah, we
was
used to
probably
not
even worse.
play soccer. Yeah.
No, you don't play soccer. What is that? It's a weird sport.
I
but-
don't know, I wear socks up high. And
Shit doesn't change. I just, yeah. All right. I'm not gonna like go into my further critique of soccer because I have
No.
tried to watch it. It's much respect to the
I
soccer.
love the World
community.
Cup when it comes on. I watch that.
You go for
I
that?
don't go for the whole. All sports. I only watch the playoffs.
Oh, okay.
No time for
You're not
it.
like a fanatical sports fan of any of them.
Yeah, how would you make music if you
Yeah.
watched every game?
Yeah, that's for people who don't have hobbies. I think largely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't have a hobby.
You don't have a hobby. You don't have anything that you do to get away from music.
No. Smoke weed and watch TV and make music.
You ever feel like you need like any kind of escape, or is it just so natural for you at this point?
Yeah, it's just life, really.
Yeah. You ever get any exercise?
Not really.
Yeah, me too. I have to agree with that. I barely
need
do so. It would be nice. It's a nice reset, but it can be very hard. I feel like weed and exercise. There's certain people who can do them together, and there's certain
I
people
used to
that
smoke a blunt and go around like a couple of miles. That's
You used to do
what it was. Yeah.
I don't know.
Last
yeah.
year I started running for like 3 months. It was good.
Yeah,
I just stopped though.
yeah. See, my thing is all.
I was in a hotel where the running thing was like 3 rooms down from my room, so I didn't have to go far.
Yeah.
But throw a treadmill in here.
My thing is that I'll think I'm gonna smoke weed and then go exercise, and I'll smoke weed and I'll realize that I was lying to myself before the weed.
I couldn't do it without weed.
Yeah, well, that's a good point too. I think that's the balance I'm trying to find. Is like, how do you smoke a blunt and go to the gym, and just somehow make that more enjoyable, make that part of it.
Yeah, just don't do edibles.
Well, that's a fucking fact. You don't fuck with that at all?
Nah, not really.
Not anymore.
I mean, sometimes.
Yeah, like a few of them.
Me and Playing Pat get in the studio together. We do edibles for some reason.
Mm-hmm. But that 800 milligram fucking monster
we'll take
brownie.
like a 1200 milligram brownie and cut it up into the tiniest pieces and just eat it over like a day and a half.
Yeah, but that's the shit that'll have you on your ass, fucking like nervous.
That's like
and
during
shit.
Kid Cudi's album. We were just fucked.
It'll have you thinking about
fucked.
life. Like,
I used to eat edibles like back when I was mixing like Common and stuff for Kanye. And they'd eat edibles and mushrooms, and they'd come in the studio. I'd be just sleeping on the couch, slobber all over.
I thought I was okay at edibles for a while, and I ate a cookie and then did an interview. And partway through the interview, my friend stopped the interview and was like, "Are you on pills or something? Like, what are you doing right now?" And then when I went back and watched it, and I noticed that I was speaking slower, that I sounded all drowsy, and I didn't feel it, but then I saw it on camera, and I was like, "Okay, I gotta really chill with that shit."
I was on this on a tour with Riff Raff. I think it was in Sacramento. We was on a bus right next to this 4D theater movie place, and I had a half of a Rice Krispie edible. I ate that. I went to go watch this. I think it was like a 3D Suicide Squad movie.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't even watch the whole thing. Like I stopped in the middle of the movie. I got back on that bus and just went to sleep.
Yeah.
I was tripping.
Nothing makes you want to sleep more than that shit. You're like, I want to escape.
And I do so many shows and shit, I can't do edibles.
Right.
You can't do edibles and go on stage with Kanye, you know.
That does not sound like a good idea at all.
You know,
He goes on that speech and you just like walk away. You have to go lay down and back.
no, I'm playing the whole time. What are you talking about?
Yeah. You might have to. But
No.
that's crazy, man. So how do you meet Kanye anyway? We should probably get that out there.
Plain Pat. Plain Pat and hip hop, actually.
Okay.
They knew me from the Jay-Z stuff I worked on with Scarface and things.
Right.
And it's kind of an old story, though.
Yeah. Did he strike you as like a genius from the beginning? Like you were like,
Yeah.
this is the guy you knew?
Yeah. I know I asked him, what are you going to do next? What are you going to do next? He always does something great next.
Yeah.
You know?
And now, but I mean, it's gone to a totally different level now. But yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I think like I remember hearing like Talib Kweli tell stories about him at the like being on tour back in the day, where it's like it sounds like things that somebody would do. It sounds like a smaller version of the things that he does now, where it's like he just has these ideas and he's controlled by the ideas. He has to follow them to completion, and he can't let anything get in his way.
Sounds feasible.
It says a lot about your temperament that you're able to just sort of exist in that environment, because I feel like there's probably a lot of people that.
I've always existed in environments that are tough.
Mm,
That's why Michael Mann called me to work on his last film. Because his people were like, you'd be perfect for Michael Mann because he's a maniac, you
Mhm.
know, when he's making a movie. And, you know, it goes left, right, left, right.
so you help score it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know how much stuff ended up in there, but I did a lot of work on it.
Right. How's that compared to like working on rap albums and stuff?
It's similar. You just got to make a bunch of shit until you make something good.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
The early days of Pimp C, but like I mean, you think about people like Pimp C, Scarface, the Ghetto Boys. It's like it takes like a certain type of guy to be able to sort of thrive in those environments, and like you always felt like you were able to easily fit in those environments and be able to do the music without having to get.
Yeah, after like I did a couple of good songs, people were like, accepted me.
That goes a long way in the rev game.
Yeah. Yeah, once, you know, it's interesting. You know, when I met Pac, you know, I was nervous about meeting him, and he threw me a half ounce of weed and said, make some shit on the piano. It's like,
That's dope. What you think the weed was half decent by that point in
oh yeah,
history?
We had OG Kush.
Oh, okay. Even in the late 90s?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
It was invented in '96.
So you've seen the whole process of weed going from dog shit to great, right?
Yeah. Oh, I used to have OG Kush in Houston. I was the first person with it.
Right.
We used to have to get it over there somehow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess we shouldn't even test the waters of the
Yeah.
statute of limitations. I was gonna say, you throw it on a plane
Yeah.
or a fucking throw it in some guy's trunk.
Whatever. I remember one time I flew with 8 ounces just strapped around me with saran wrap on this shit.
Really? Because at that time, they weren't even like patting you down.
You know, I
going
used to carry a 2-liter Evian bottle with like 2 8 balls of Coke dissolved in it. Be on the plane. Just
you were on the coke that hard?
sometimes, yeah.
Really? Wow. Drinking it like that.
Yeah.
Doesn't that like really fuck you up, like drinking cocaine? I tried to read about it one time because I was like,
Yeah, it fucks you up instantly. It's like,
yeah. Yeah,
it's
I
just
know.
like snorting it.
Yeah, no, I know, because I've had like the baggie break open in my pocket, and then you have to like dip your finger in and just kind of be doing that all night, and like I feel like taking it in orally. And I feel like Dice right now is having flashbacks to his Riff Raff tour. Not allegedly. I mean, I'm making wild assumptions here, but damn. So were you crazy with the drugs and stuff for a while? Because I know you said you had to just stop after the Pimp C thing went down.
Well, I mean, just after a lot of my friends died from different drugs, or just I don't know what Pimp C died from.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a doctor,
Right.
but you know, a lot of my brother died from drug use. And, you know, I just had to let anything that makes me go up.
Yeah. You had to get that out of your system. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I just,
fair.
you know, I'll do still drink, sip some drink.
Here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can't lie. It's a pretty nice feeling, but it's a little scary sometimes. But if you got the self control for it, yeah, why not?
If you're in England, you can just go get codeine over the counter. You know?
Is that true?
Yeah.
I heard that, but I didn't know if I should believe it.
Yeah, they're like Alka-Seltzer. You just pop them in water. It's 7.5 milligrams of codeine. Take like 4 of them, you got a good buzz.
I'm surprised all these rap kids I know aren't moving to England for that exact reason.
I know, the kids in England make drink with that shit.
Yeah.
They get that, and then they get some kind of antihistamine pills, and mix it all up in a 2 liter, shake it up.
There you go.
It's fucking death.
You ever worry about the rappers you work with and stuff? Because like I don't.
Yeah, some of them, I
Yeah.
won't fuck with them, they're too high.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, I don't worry about it usually because I'm like, well, they're only like 3-4 times worse than me, so they're not that bad. My girl will be like asking me all these probing questions about like how many Xanax do you think he takes in a day? How much lean do you think he drinks? And I'm like, kind of like giving her approximations, and she's like, you think that's okay? And
I mean,
I'm
I
like,
was eating like
"Oh."
5 fucking big Xanaxes a day and like taking Vicodins all day.
When was that?
Yeah, like 10 years ago.
10 years ago? Is that when? See, you're super early on the Xan wave. Now everybody loves them.
I was on Xans way back.
What year?
Oh, fucking the 80s. Come on.
Do you remember? Really? See, I'm totally. I
Yeah,
didn't
man.
know that those were.
I was on drink in the 80s. Yeah.
So, do you
But
remember?
but I'm not hardcore on anything.
You've always been able to dabble.
Yeah.
That's how I feel too. But people don't really like that. They want if you dabble, they're like, nah, he's an addict. They want to throw that on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I could do a little coke here and there. Music festival, what the fuck else you can do there? There's nothing else to do. But it doesn't mean that you're a fucking raving lunatic. It's just
Yeah.
people don't talk about it, you know?
Yeah.
People like to try to ignore it. Unless
When
they're
you
around.
get a half ounce and sit and do it all in one sitting, then you're
Mm-hmm.
doing something.
Yeah.
I've done that before.
When I think about it now, I think about Charlie Sheen and that epic quote. And he's like, I'm banging 8-gram rocks. And you're like, an 8-gram rock and you're just busting that down real quick? Like, that's heroic. Like, you
can do that in a fucking afternoon.
You could?
Yeah.
Or he could?
I could.
Wow, you're a much better man than me there.
But it's a shitty fucking 2 or 3 days after.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 2 or 3 days after, too. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, that's why I don't fuck with drugs anymore.
Mhm.
The after effect.
Yeah, that's the worst. Going on rap tour and like you think you can just like do the leans and the Zan thing for 4 or 5 days a week, and then you just have a couple of days where you're just.
Well, I had in the '90s. I had a time where I did. Shouldn't talk about drug use. But, no,
That's what we do here.
I did like. I'd wake up in the morning and eat like a half a cap of mushroom every day, for like 2 years, and I would take like a fucking pop of ecstasy, whatever brand was popping at the time,
Wow.
and start smoking weed. That'd be my day,
Just flying.
for like years, just making records out here.
Really? So you don't feel like you have any kind of like long-term effects from that? You think you've survived pretty well?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, serotonin deficiency maybe.
There's definitely a point in your life where I think like if you want to live a long life, you got to turn it off with the uppers for sure.
Yeah, you have to.
That'll add up real quick.
Yeah, downers you learn how to take the right amount.
Yeah. Well, I mean, those are the ones you go to the doctor and they're like, oh, you're 50? Yeah, you need Xanax. Of course. How could you not be having a
I don't like
crisis
those
right now?
kind. I don't do any kind of diazepams anymore
Mm-hmm.
because they just lead you to depression and shit.
That's what I'm saying. So one of my most iconic Texas interviews I ever got was the Zero interview, and I know you had the privilege of working with him a lot. How'd that happen?
I don't know. Just somebody from Rap-A-Lot brought him by the house after he signed with Rap-A-Lot. Big Chief, more likely.
Mm-hmm.
And we hit it off. Like we made so many songs. Like then he went to prison. He got out of prison. He came over with a book like this of songs. And we
Really?
just started making them. Like, you know, he's crazy.
And did he have a crazy work ethic in terms of being able to really like
Yeah, we bang out a song in 3 hours, finished. You know.
really?
Yeah, like top to bottom mix, fucking. Like I Hate You Bitch was 2-3 hours song.
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, he had me buy him some like $80 bottle of scotch, I think it was.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. Like the guy who hooked it up was like, yeah, he wants this bottle of scotch. I go to the grocery store, it's like $85. I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool that he asked me to buy this. Like, this shows that he knows what he's worth.
Taste.
You don't get paid for media, but you might as well at least put some stuff in your rider.
Yeah, where's my bottle?
Hey, if you ask, we tried to go to the fucking weed clinic and buy a fucking ounce of gelato or some shit right before I came here because I was like, you know what, you can't show up empty-handed. I gotta, even though I know he's got infinity weed, I might as well just show up with weed. But then I'm like, And then we went to the clinic down the street, and I fucking pulled out what I had thought was my weed card and my wallet, but it turned out it was my fucking gun license, and it had just been sitting there, and I didn't remember.
So you can have a gun license here?
Yeah.
How do you get it?
You just go. You answer like 30 questions. I got like 5 wrong.
Can you have misdemeanors?
I'm not gonna say I cheated on the test, but one of my friends was kind of just standing there, and I was like, and he was. I probably would have failed if I tried to do it on my own. And then they give you like a 10-day waiting thing, and then, well, you got any felonies?
No felonies.
And then you could just go get it right now.
Good. I need some guns up in here.
You do? You don't have any in here? If I had a house this
Yeah.
nice, I'd have a fucking arsenal.
I got a little something, but nothing good enough.
You gotta work on the collection.
I'm from Texas. I mean,
That's true, yeah.
Gun fucking culture.
Yeah, you get real used to it there from a young age.
Yeah. Never didn't have a gun on us.
Really?
Yeah.
In your younger days. Do you feel like you've seen hip hop get a lot safer over the years in a way?
Not really. There's a new wave of knuckleheads, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You got safe for a while, now it's not safe anymore.
Mm-hmm. That's always the tricky thing. Some dudes are saying it and they mean it 1,000%, and some dudes are saying it and they mean it 0%.
Yeah, I've worked with both.
Yeah, it can be hard to tell from the outside who's real and who's not.
Yeah, you can't tell until somebody beats your ass.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
You ever get into it physically with any of the guys you worked with over the years?
Nah.
Nothing. You don't seem like that kind of
Mellow.
figure. You're like the Dalai Lama of rap. I feel like where you bring a serenity and a level of like peace and relaxation to these guys.
Yeah, I've had like Crips and Bloods and opposite gangs in the same studios, you know, like doing songs in different rooms, and always worked out.
You think
Most of the time, we've had a few episodes.
It's out of respect for you for the most part. You think?
Yeah.
Respect. I think it's like when they know.
Respect for me, and then like Jay Prince was around then. You know,
You're terrified of him probably too. Huh?
Yeah, nobody wants to fuck with Jay.
Yeah. Do you think that like you also get a special pass in a sense because you're the guy who basically controls the music at that moment? It's like if you want to make a hit song, you have to be.
Yeah.
You gotta align yourself with Mike right now, so don't mess around too much.
Yeah. There's no reason to be an asshole to me. So
That's what I'm saying. You have that.
if you are, I
that
just don't call you back. It's just like, fuck off.
So Zero, can you tell me the story about him knocking out this Guitar Center employee? Because no,
I already told this story before.
you did. So if people want to Google that, they can find out about it. But
I mean, yeah, some guy said he didn't like his album, and he went off on it.
yeah, that's pretty crazy. Walk up to Zero and say, "Hey, your last album sucked."
Yeah.
That's a bold move.
First day out of prison.
I mean, that's.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah, Mike,
first day out.
let's go to the Guitar Center and get some shit. Let's go buy some D88s, you know, mics and shit.
Yeah. And like, I just feel like anybody who's been around Zero or even seen him talk on camera, you'd be like, damn, that's not the kind of guy I'd really want to like give him my harsh critic of his critical
I used
responses.
to have to always tell him, oh, you're flat. You know, like,
Really?
yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. Oh, so you'd be able to stand up to him.
I'll
but-
tell anybody that they sound bad, you know.
Is that a hard conversation to have with some people?
Nah.
No? They know you're saying it in their best interest.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So at this point, do you just love the being home experience or the touring experience? Do you hate the touring experience given that you're so comfortable here in your environment?
Sorry. Fuck.
No, it's cool. I like it. I'm the same exact way where I get distracted. Like fucking, as soon as I see one thing, it's like everything else closes out in my mind. But being on tour versus being at home.
Okay.
Do you like being on tour? Is it hard given that you're so comfortable and probably so productive when you're at home?
Yeah, I'm shying away from touring this year.
Mhm.
After Kanye's tour stopped, I just decided I was going to chill till he's ready to start back up again.
Right.
You know.
And if you have the option to go on the road with him, and probably everybody else seems a little less interesting in comparison, huh?
Yeah, man, Travis, I was supposed to go on tour with him on this last tour,
Mm-hmm.
but I just moved out here and built my studio. I just had to concentrate on working at home.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I don't know. One thing I was also wanted to ask about is like you've worked with guys who like Kanye and to a certain extent Travis too. I think where they feel like when they come out with a project that they have to sort of really change the sound of like modern music. Like it's all about progression. It's all
That's
about
what we do.
Yeah.
You know,
And
push shit.
you consider yourself the same way in that like a good album or a good project has to like change the overall.
It has to make everybody go back to the studio. And
Mhm.
we used to say reforecast their budgets. You know what I mean? If you think you're done with your album and we drop our shit, you're going to have to go back in and spend another $500,000 in the studio.
Right. Are there albums or projects you were a part of early on that sort of stand out to you as, okay, that was a project that I was part of, whether you realized it going in or you didn't, where that changed everything right there?
I mean, Dark Twisted was one.
Uh-huh.
Every Kanye album.
Yeah. He won't put one out unless he
Just
has
shit
that
on
effect.
everybody
Yeah.
every time.
Mhm.
That's the goal. You know?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's like that.
And to make something great, too, at the same time. You know?
People forget that rap is crazy competitive, even on a massive superstar level.
Yeah, of course.
Even more so, probably at that point. Yeah. So, what projects? Well, I guess we talked about the Dice mixtape that's coming soon, and you're working on various projects that are sort of not to be discussed. But I don't know. What do you see for 2017? Like, do you have this vision in your head of having like a whole roster of artists that you're actually working with? And do you want to get back into the space of people knowing you as the guy that's breaking a lot of the hot new dudes?
Yeah, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm going to still work on the usual projects that I do every year, along with trying to get like Dice or maybe one or two more artists.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to get too many people.
Yeah.
'Cause,
They could easily get really
yeah, I want
crazy with that.
to concentrate on my career too.
Mhm.
My production career.
That's it.
Got to make a Mike Dean album too soon.
Is that really in the works?
Yeah.
What would that maybe be like? Like you sort of being the orchestrator of everything, like having a lot of different.
Yeah. A lot of different types of shit put together.
Yeah. That's dope.
That's everybody I fuck with.
Yeah. What can we talk about this gigantic MWA ashtray over here? Because I'm particularly impressed by this thing.
Oh, this is man. I don't remember the guy's name who sent it to me.
Now, can I bust this out over here?
Yeah. Let me get his name.
It might be. This is like a 50-pound ashtray. I'm so taken aback by the level of artistry that went into this thing with the big roach, the little tiny roach, and the ashes there. Like, this is incredible.
It's dope.
It's hard to even hold it up because it's so heavy, dude. This thing is crazy.
Damn.
And this is just a fan just got in touch with you and sent this through?
Yeah.
Man, that's some serious fandom. He's going through his Twitter DMs just to
Yeah.
show love right now. This is cool.
Fuck, that sucks. Where's it at?
Fans, you think he inscribed it? No, I don't think so.
Fuck, you should put his name on it.
How'd you arrive at the MWA name?
I was just in a meeting with some label people talking about making an album and DJing in a Mexican wrestling mask.
Mm-hmm.
And it just turned into that. It's kind of a joke, actually.
Mm-hmm.
It's turning, it's a cool thing now.
Yeah. Do you think it makes you feel more in touch with your Mexican side, just having that be such a big part of your branding?
Underscore Sergio Garcia.
Oh, okay. There you go. You know, I feel like he made this look like a backwood too. I don't know if that was intentional
No,
or
it's
not.
a Swisher.
Oh, okay.
Don't get it twisted.
Kind of gives me backwood vibes, but there's a little bit of like wrinkliness to it that I'm sort of like. I
I'm
don't
gonna
know.
say it's a Swisher.
Just to keep it 100. All right, Mike. Well, we really appreciate you letting us
Sorry,
get in
I'm
here.
drifting off.
Dice too. No. This was really cool. It was great to get to see what you guys got going on here, and I appreciate you having us,
Yeah.
and very much so looking
Right.
forward to the new projects and everything for sure. Dice, thank you, man.
For sure.
This is Ben, No Jumper, coolest podcast in the world. Today,
Jumper.
away from home. We did it. Thank you very much to everybody who watched this. Peace.
Thanks for coming out.
Appreciate it.
Y'all come back now.
Thanks, man.